Hey guys. So it's Saturday morning. I've been just mulling things over in my mind. How everything went down yesterday, and apparently there's more stormtrooping happening today. From this vantage point of our room here, I've seen several vehicles with flags driving out of the protest area, people leaving. Pretty heartbroken today for my nation. I look down on residential area in Ottawa and I just see people out walking their dogs and laughing and talking on their phone, wearing masks. Almost like they're totally oblivious to the significance of what's happening just a few blocks away. We're actually in the red zone where we're staying here. And, there are people here who just don't seem to care. After I got back last night, I couldn't sleep. I was up till like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, just finding out everything that happened while I was in custody, watching videos of 2 people got trampled by RCMP horses, including a lady with a walker, sweet little grandmother who was there saying peace and love. That's why she was standing there for her grandbabies. I watched those RCMP, or I don't know if it was RCMP. I don't know who it was that was on those horses, but I watched them come out of the parkade where we were being forced to stay in a line for over 2.5 hours in the cold, waiting to be processed. Those are big freaking horses. Those had to be Clydesdales or something, because they were massive horses. What they did yesterday to those peaceful protesters, to moms, dads, grandparents, peaceful Canadian citizens who just wanted their voice to be heard, who just wanted to be acknowledged by their government. Unconscionable. Unforgivable. How can anyone who really knows what's going on here have any remaining respect for the governing authorities of our nation? There were no buildings torched, cop cars torched or flipped. Nobody was killed. Nobody was beat up by any of the protesters. We were there to peacefully assemble and simply asking to be heard by the government. Jagmeet Singh went on national TV at the House of Commons and basically said Justin Trudeau has exhausted every other possibility for resolution, so he had to resort to this. No, No, not once, not once, not once did anyone from government, whether it was Liberals, NDP, Conservatives, not once did any of the, we'll call them ruling class now, because that's what they've obviously made themselves. Not once did they make any attempts to communicate with the people, the organizers. There was no discussion, nothing. It was just constant escalation on their part. That was their tactic, just basically telling the people, be quiet and go home. When we didn't, they escalated. Then they said, be quiet and go home. And when we didn't, they escalated again. And finally, it's resulted in this. And last I heard, they're actually gassing people. I watched video of people, well, somebody getting their head bashed in with a rifle. A rifle. These are unarmed people. And half the country doesn't care. They're going about their business. Innocent people got hurt yesterday. Innocent people are getting hurt right now. Cops are still on the move. And people are still trying to stand their ground, to still try and make their voices heard. I don't look at this as a failure on the part of the people. I see this as a true victory on the part of the people. Because now we've shown the world exactly what kind of people are in power in this country. If you had ever any doubts of the kind of people that are in power in this country now, you should have no doubt. And it doesn't matter if we're talking Liberals, Conservatives, NDP. They're all the same. It's all theater. It's just a show to make you think that you have a voice, to make you think that that you have freedom in this country, when in actual fact you don't. I watched a person walking away from that area down the street, carrying his Canadian flag low, almost trying to hide it. Like being proud of your country, waving your country's flag because you believe in something that this country once stood for is a shameful thing. What really breaks my heart is where I see this potentially could lead is where none of us want to see it lead, because there are people of action in this country that that are fed up, that see the end result of this if it doesn't change, and maybe they're not going to be taking the peaceful stance that we took, and I'm afraid for that. I'm praying against that. I'm praying it doesn't come to that. But when when the people have no more voice, when peaceful protesters are slandered as terrorists, as Nazis, as racists, and the media is only a propaganda arm of the government. They just tell the world what the government wants them to say. There are people who will end up feeling like there's no alternative. Christians, be in prayer for your country, because this isn't over. This really is just it's not like everybody that had hope that something would change here is just going to say, okay, it didn't work. I guess we'll just go back to our daily lives. Even if the government starts backing down on the restrictions to try and salvage something, now we know what they are. So I guess I'm just very afraid for my country. I'm very afraid for the state of our nation and the future for my kids, my grandchildren. I'm still processing things, so I'll do a video in a little bit and just explain how things went down yesterday with my arrest and all that stuff. It wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't the most horrible thing I've been through, but just seeing what other people have faced, how they escalated and escalated and escalated. All we wanted was for the government to just hear us, acknowledge us, and work with the people. We represent, for every person that was here, we probably represent thousands of Canadians. The media in this country, the mainstream media, needs to be taken down. That's one thing for sure. They are the main weapon that the government uses against its own people. It's the media. The media isn't just the virus. The media is the weapon. And I pray there's a peaceful way to take them down. And I don't just mean boycotting them. There has to be a way to completely remove all federal funding from media. And we need to be doing what we did here at Ottawa in front of every single lying scumbag media organization's headquarters and outlets in the country. Anyways, God bless you guys. Pray.